want to go over what the white people are saying about this movie. Yeah? Now, am I surprised that I didn't think it was going to be this low? I thought it was going to be like 40%. This right now, Michael is sitting at 32 Rotten Tomatoes. Listen, man, I really don't think they want this movie to beat Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm not surprised. Let's go here. Michael first reviews flashy and nostalgic, but safe and a little hollow. Critics say Antoine Fuqua's biopic is great when Jafar Jackson is performing as his uncle, but there isn't much substance to the rest of the film. Let's see. As a celebration of Michael Jackson's music and star power, Antoine Fuqua's film reportedly delivers, but many audiences will likely have trouble with its generic and selective storytelling. Here's what the critics, y'all, not fans, critics, are saying about Michael. If you're even remotely nostalgic for the time when his songs were ubiquitous on pop charts at parties and on dance floors worldwide, the movie will be a warm rush of transporting pleasure. If you're here for the music, the movement, and that larger-than-life energy that made him who he was, this absolutely delivers. Michael stands as an entertaining experience that fans are going to have a blast with. It's a solid movie that will captivate fans worldwide. It succeeds where it should. Michael illuminates a moment in time that should be celebrated. The primary performances, production design, and entertainment value are objectively good here. You leave the theater wanting to hit the dance floor. Although the film's musical performances galvanize, director Antoine Fuqua reduces the king of pop to a blandly inspirational cipher. Oh no, Michael does the impossible. It makes the king of pop boring. Does it honor Michael Jackson's legacy as a pop icon? Okay, simply as a celebration of Jackson's songs and stagecraft, it's phenomenal. The music has never sounded louder or better. The movie, in its rather familiar way, conducts the electricity of Michael Jackson. From the casting to the costumes to the full-fledged concert performances, Michael lives up to the legendary status of its namesake. It celebrates more than it questions, remembers more than it reveals. It's just feature-length publicity, and it plays like damage control. It betrays its own subject, whose stated desire to creatively express himself honestly and without external restraints isn't echoed by this meticulously disingenuous affair. Jeez. Okay. Is it mostly for diehard fans? For lifelong fans who cherish the music, the movie delivers. Fans especially are going to eat this up. It's built for them. Michael is the film fans will line up for more than once. A chance to see this genius up close and in IMAX like never before. Even longtime diehard fans will be taken aback by the level of detail on display. As someone who found comfort in Michael Jackson's art growing up, I was moved, but I also wanted more honesty. It's a film about how great Michael Jackson was and how great you are if you're still a fan. Okay. I mean, they go pretty in depth. How does it compare to other biopics? This is what I'm looking for. Unlike the at times cartoonish depiction of Elvis Presley and Elvis, well, I didn't think it was cartoonish. For example, Michael offers viewers a deeper look at Michael Jackson's complex inner world in a narrative that could stand on its own, separate from the music. It's basically an 80s TV movie version of the Michael Jackson story with sharper acting and the snazzier photography. That's what people want to hear. Because that's the standard for us on ABC, yeah? Michael suffers from the same pitfalls as so many modern biopics, dutifully hitting all the genre cliches. Does this film do anything different from what we've seen done in just about every music biopic? No, this is a very safe movie. In the panoply of biographical motion pictures, Michael occupies a space between the Babe Ruth story, which claimed Babe Ruth cured diseases by hitting homers, and Back to Black, which argued that Amy Winehouse's family and record label were blameless for her ongoing life-ending substance abuse. It's one of the most vapid hagiographies that this subgenre has seen in quite some time. Jeezy peace. Okay. Everybody agrees that Jafar's performance of Michael is pretty spot on. Jafar Jackson is nothing short of remarkable. Watching him perform those iconic tracks was unexpectedly emotional for me. It didn't feel like imitation, it felt like memory. The King of Pop is brilliantly portrayed by his nephew. Jafar Jackson dazzles. Jafar Jackson's Michael is as close to resurrecting the King of Pop as a movie can get, and it's easy to forget that he isn't actually Michael Jackson. The voice, the charisma, the dance move, he has it down to a T. It really does seem like this is going to be a performance that is talked about all year long, and deservedly so. Okay. The young actor pulls off an uncanny recreation of Michael's dance skills, the unique combination of fluidity and snappy angularity that helped make him one of the all time great stage entertainers. The stretches of the film that are most captivating are almost solely due to Jafar's ability to embody both Michael's timid awkwardness off stage and his magnetic exuberance on stage. Oh, okay, let's see what they say about Coleman. Coleman Domingo shines as the best member of the cast with his ability to infuse nuance in his characterization. Coleman Domingo brings a commanding presence. No doubt Domingo will be nominated for Best Support. Yes, they're already talking best supporting actor nom for next year's Oscars. That's how good. That's how good he played Joe. I think Coleman's going to make us forget about Lawrence Hilton Jacobs as the original Papa Joe. Domingo's fiery but one-note performance quickly grows tiresome. Domingo's Joe becomes buffoonishly one-dimensional, practically mustache twirling. Oh my gosh. Okay. That's what they're saying. So as of right now, the score is at 32%. As of right now, it's at 32%. 33%, I stand corrected. It is sitting at 33%. 94 reviews. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? I'm surprised it's this low. I was already prepared for it to be under 50% just because, you know how they do black movies, y'all. But this is disrespectful. Okay? This was disrespectful. Okay, so let's go. I want to see a couple YouTubers, see what they say about okay, let's see what Christian Harloff has to say. Do you care about? There's no such thing as spoilers. It's Michael. We know everything about Michael. There's no such thing as spoilers, y'all. It really isn't. But if you want to mute up, go right ahead. But it's Michael. We know everything about Michael. So go ahead and mute up. Let's go. I want to hear his take.
My review, my non-spoiler review of Michael.
Oh, okay. No, it's non-spoiler. It's okay. Unmute. It's non-spoiler. Come on.
Said I was going to do it live today. So if you're brand new to the channel, you haven't been here before, click like, comment, subscribe, do all that and more. Going to talk about the new this is non-spoiler review of Michael, which is the biopic. Antoine Fuqua is the director on this one. You got Jafar Jackson playing Michael, also Giuliano Valdi, who plays young Michael, Coleman Domingo playing Joseph Jackson. A lot of other big cameos in this. I also thought Keelan Durrell Jones, who played Bill Bray, was a standout. Let's go with the acting first, and I will tell you that people are curious, like, what is this going to be? Is this going to be just an impression of Michael Jackson's nephew doing him? And the answer is no, it is not an impression. He really gets the cadence down of Michael Jackson, and so does Giuliano Valdi, who plays young Michael Jackson. You see the rise, and that's what people have to realize about this movie in general. And we'll discuss all this in the live show and everything more. But in reviewing this movie in what they gave you, not what I thought or whatever it could be, I'm just going to review the movie that they gave me, right? Because you have to understand that the Jackson brothers were producing this. You're going to get a vanilla version of this.
I'm just curious to see how white folk are try to give us like in-depth breakdowns of the Jackson family. Like, it's funny to me when I hear white folk talk about black artists and you want to educate us, like nigga, like for real, you're gonna tell us something we don't know already. But I'm just here for. I want to see what the white folk are saying, y'all.
At least in part one. That being said, they really do show the rise of Michael Jackson and the kind of the paint by numbers, if you will, biopic, what they do, how they start, the fact that he comes from this family where his father is pushing them to be on it all of the time to get them out of the being poor and really driving them hard and really not in a way that is healthy either. It's more so like not allowing them to be children. And it sympathizes with Michael throughout it. And I think that's going to be the thing where a lot of people might have an issue with. But again, in this movie in general, they are showing Michael as he is growing, standing out, becoming who he is.
Okay, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think there's going to be much revealed that we already didn't see in the ABC. It was like a 2-night special, right? The Jacksons. It was like 2 nights, right? I don't think there's going to be much we didn't. You know what I'm saying? I would just say, like the one review said, this is like the ABC version with more money and with better cinematography and maybe a tad bit better class of actors. But we've seen this story time and time again. We're just now seeing it on the big screen, and that's what makes it different. It's different on the big screen as opposed to watching it on a TV special, right? So I really don't think they're going to reveal anything we didn't already know. I just think it's gonna look much better. You know, the songs are gonna pop even more because it's in a theater setting. You know, I'm still looking forward to this movie. You know, nonetheless.
Becoming the pop star that we see. And they go through all the music. They go from the 70s. This movie covers the span from the 70s into like 1989. They show a bunch of things that you would have known if you were growing up in the era or you're Michael Jackson.
Yeah, the only thing the TV special didn't have was the hair, the Pepsi commercial, which they put into the movie, which is good. So that's probably one or two instances that was not in the TV special. Okay, well, let's continue.
Jackson fan in general. The music really pops. What Jafar Jackson does is you do get this essence of who Michael is, or at least who they portrayed him to be. And that's what he does. He has this soft side about him, clearly troubled, all these other things that were going on in his life. But the way that they do, the relationship that really pops again, as I mentioned, is between Michael Jackson and Bill Bray, who is his driver and looks after him, and it was assigned by his father. Now, Coleman Domingo, again, with this presence about him, he's always a standout guy because he just has that energy about him. But playing Joseph Jackson and just seeing how he exploits his children and these things that he's just been plagued with, that part of it they really dive into as well. Antoine Fuqua is showing you, I mean, the music, the video, the stuff like when you're watching him do Thriller, these other things, those things work. Now, the soft side of it and the vanilla side of it is the thing where it's like, okay, well, clearly they're not diving too deep into it. And as I said, it is a little bit more of a VH1 type movie.
Okay, I'm gonna just say this. All these white folk care about is the child abuse allegations. That's it. Black folk don't care. Okay, the case was settled out of the court, and to the point where the 2 boys, Quo, were signed to his goddamn record label. Now, I've never heard in the history of child abuse that the parents say, "Oh, you abused my child, but hey, let's sign our children over to your record label." That's not how this works. So the main issue with white audiences is how come they didn't cover the child abuse allegations? That's all they fucking care about. Honestly, that's all they care about. Once again, settled out of court, and the 2 boys signed his record label, the group called Quo, and then they grew up, they got older, say, no, our parents told us to say these things about Michael. Right? Macaulay Culkin came out. No, Michael ain't like that, man. He slept in different rooms. Michael's bedroom was so fucking big. I believe it was 2 stories. It was a 2-story bedroom, and Michael slept at the top, and the kids slept at the bottom. That's how big his bedroom was. So when people were saying Michael slept in the same bedroom as the kids, technically, yeah, but they don't mention that it was 2 stories. Who the hell has a 2-story bedroom? But let's continue. I just think the majority of white people are just going to pick on the child abuse stuff. That's all they care about. That's it.
Movie, then maybe it is a detailed let's get into the nitty-gritty of it. And there is sometimes where the dialogue feels like, oh, we're getting to the next music video and we're going to show what a great performer he was, and then they're diving a little bit, not when they do go into the family moments, they have some things with the mom that really works, and then they kind of go away from it a little fast. So I think that the movie works. I think that what Antoine Fuqua does, he was given a directive. And
yeah, Antoine Fuqua is top 10, top 5. Let's see what Dan Morel has to say. I'm just curious to see what the
biopic, which is
white
one of the
folks got
most
to
hotly
say.
anticipated movies of the spring. Michael is directed by Antoine Fuqua, who brought us Training Day and the Equalizer films. It's written by John Logan, the writer of Skyfall, Hugo, and Gladiator, among others. And it's co-produced by Graham King, who is also a producer on Bohemian Rhapsody, a movie that I think this movie shares some commonalities with and may actually perform as well as. Another one of the film's three main producers is John Branca, Jackson's former manager and the co-executor of his estate, who's also a character in the movie played by Miles Teller. Either this role was cut way down when the film was restructured, or Branca's role as producer allowed.
I don't remember that. It was? Really? I don't remember that. Maybe how long ago that shit was. I don't remember the Pepsi incident in the TV series. Matter of fact, let's go look. Jackson 5. Not the TV show, the TV movie, The American Dream. Yeah, it was a miniseries on CBS. I don't recall the Pepsi scene. Okay, wow, I don't remember that. I really don't remember that. Okay. Okay, wow. My memory's shot. Don't ask me to memorize something for you, because my memory's shot to hell. Okay, let's go back here.
Him the privilege of vanity inclusion in the film and the casting of a name to play his small role, and the many executive producers of the film include Michael Jackson's oldest son and several of his siblings. I think that expectation setting is important with movies, and with so many people behind the scenes of this film that are part of Jackson's family and or estate, I think it's important to know going in that if you're expecting a deep look into Michael Jackson's psyche, or even something that challenges his image or his public persona in any way, that's not what you're getting here. Michael is a movie that is 100% devoted to gilding his legacy as one of the most successful and popular artists of all time, depicting his rise to fame and his coronation as the king of pop. By design and legal necessity, anything controversial is omitted entirely, and that opens up the discussion about this film really into two different areas: the quality of Michael as a film and the existence of Michael as a concept. As a film critic, I think my main duty is to evaluate this movie as a film first, which I'll do, playing Michael Jackson on his shoulders, but also the familial weight of playing his own uncle, plus the pressure of taking this on as his first ever acting role. It would be pretty easy to crack under that pressure. I think anybody would. But I think that Jafar Jackson acquits himself pretty well in the role. I did believe him as Michael Jackson, which is a role that he gets more comfortable with as the movie goes on. He nails his uncle's dance moves, which is no small task, and his acting, I think, is acceptable to actually pretty good. This is not the kind of transformational performance that we saw from Rami Malek in Bohemian Rhapsody or Taron Egerton in Rocketman, but this movie would have failed if Jafar Jackson wasn't up to the task. I think that he was, and he puts in a strong, if not exceptional, performance. The script for Michael feels like it comes straight off of the biopic assembly line. After a brief look at where we end up with Michael at the height of his bad fame, we flash all the way back to his childhood as part of the Jackson 5, the band comprised of Michael and his brothers that launched.
Yes. Tito broke the string on Joe's guitar, and this is all for hey, give Tito all the credit, because this it had it not been for Tito sneaking around playing Joe's guitar at night, and breaks the string, we don't have this. So give Tito all the damn credit.
Them all to fame before Michael's solo career. And we also meet Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, Michael's domineering father, who's determined to break the family out of their working class roots by working his kids as hard as possible and punishing them when they step out of line. Domingo plays this part well, though I think it's written somewhat one note. Nia Long as Katherine Jackson, Michael's mother, mainly looks worried while Joe is in the room and gives Michael the support he needs when Joe's not there. I don't know what the actual dynamics between the Jackson parents were, but I would have liked to have seen a little bit more development in the film.
Sir, that's you had to go back and rewatch the ABC miniseries. Okay, this is why I'm dying to see how these white folk want to take a deep dive through history.
Of course, none of this is news to anyone even tangentially aware of Michael Jackson's life story. It's been written about and depicted in TV movies and spoken about countless times, and Michael doesn't really scratch beyond the surface when it comes to Jackson's childhood or anywhere else, really. For the first 2/3 of the film, Michael flies through the years, depicting the biggest events in Michael Jackson's life in a scene or two before moving on to the next thing. There are some scenes devoted to Michael's discomfort with his appearance, including the size of his nose and subsequent nose jobs, as well as his vitiligo, but they seem to be included solely because they're not able to be ignored, even in the movie's limited time frame, and the movie doesn't linger on these things, nor is there much exploration of the overwhelming stress that came with his immense fame, a topic that Jackson himself explored in his music, even in the bad era. This rapid-fire surface-level pacing is most evident when Michael is conceiving of and recording his legendary solo album, Thriller. We get basically one scene of writing, one scene where he invites gang members from the Bloods and the Crips to watch him come up with dance moves to beat it, which is a bizarre compression of actual events, a pretty much shot-for-shot recreation of the music video to Thriller, and then a wrap-up scene with a record executive where we learn that the album is a huge success and Michael's now the biggest star in the world. At least that scene does touch on Michael's difficulty getting his music videos played on MTV as a black artist, but you could have gone so much deeper. I actually think that the making of Thriller would have made a better movie on its own. It captures Michael Jackson at a crucial time as he was breaking away even more from his family, and still could have depicted the tension between him and his father, and we could have actually seen.
Well, then that part of that was Michael struggling to break away from being raised a Jehovah's Witness, which is why they put the disclaimer at the very beginning of the video. Y'all remember the disclaimer, no religious something, don't be offended or something, right? So he was struggling with that as well. Okay, come on, Dan. Dan, do better, Dan. Dan, do better.
Seeing him exercise his creative genius instead of just being told countless times that he's special and one of a kind. He was, but it would be great to see that. But a thriller-centric movie would have meant fewer songs
know,
that
bro,
could be jammed
for
into the
real.
film, and Michael seems determined to play every popular song that Jackson sang from the Jackson 5 days to the bad era. A lot of storytelling in this film is done via montage to Jackson's music, which is a great move if you want to be a crowd pleaser, but it's sometimes less than satisfying narratively. Michael moves at dizzying speed until the third act, where it slows down to linger on.
Okay, this was from the Victory Tour, right? That first single, Torture. I remember that. That was a big deal. The Victory Tour. That was a big fucking deal. Okay, come on.
Joe Jackson pressuring Michael to tour with his brothers after Thriller's success, which leads to Michael's severe burn injuries on that set of the Pepsi ad. The last 20 minutes or so are basically a concert film, first with Michael and his brothers, then as a solo artist. And this culmination is similar to Bohemian Rhapsody, but in that film, the story all led to the band's performance at Live Aid. Here, the performances just seem like the film had to find a stopping point, which actually isn't too far from the truth. It's no secret that Michael originally began and ended with a 1993 police raid on his home after he was accused of abuse by a 13-year-old boy, but after the estate discovered that a previous legal agreement prevented them from depicting these allegations, the film had to be partially reshot and restructured. Instead, the movie ends long before those events.
Sir, there was a contractual agreement. Yeah. And they forgot that agreement was in place, which is why they had to completely reshoot the entire third act of the movie. Yes. Okay. Let's go here. Just my opinion.
Like most people around the world, I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan.
Of course.
Rest in peace, my guy. If I could bring you back, I would. My name is Brandon Keith Avery, and this is just my opinion.
Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
2 hours and 7 minutes and is rated PG-13 and is being described as docudrama, period drama, showbiz drama, biography, drama, history, and music. Now, this film is being directed by Mr. Anton Fuqua. This is what the gentleman looks like right here, and I am a big fan of this man's work.
Okay, hold on. Let's just go. Let me see. I just want to get his review, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Okay, review. Let's go here.
Of pop. I'm also going to start this review off saying, as large as Michael Jackson's life and or career was, I think it's impossible to please everyone. So I just wanted to throw that out there as well. But the first thing that I loved about this film is it's impossible to say you've never heard of Michael Jackson before. The only person in human history that has ever been more popular than Michael Jackson is Jesus Christ. It's Jesus Christ at number 1 and then Michael Jackson at number 2. But you still may not know all the ins and outs. You may have been born just a few years ago and heard about the guy, but still not know everything. So if you are not that familiar with Michael Jackson and only heard of the name, or if you was an alien visiting Earth and he was like, hey, we got these signals about this guy. Going into that more and how they covered the film, I love the timestamps. I love the title cards. At the very beginning of the film, when the credits are ending and it says Lionsgate and Universal, you start hearing the music, you see some of his signature outfits with his shoes and those glittery socks and his high-ride pants and him tapping. It just instantly brings a smile to your face, and then goes back in time of 1966, Gary, Indiana, and we're introduced to the Jackson 5. And throughout the whole film, it says 1966, 1968, 1970, 1975, all the way up until the end of the film in London, England, in his bad tour of 1988. Again, if you don't know anything about Michael Jackson. These timestamps, these title cards, also cued with the music, did a fantastic job of letting you know exactly what part in time we are witnessing with the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson's life.
I hate to say, but I think that's part of it is because movie-going audiences have been programmed to have a very short attention span. Moviegoers have become dumb, and it's not their fault, but TikTok and short form video, short form content has pretty much rewired a whole lot of people to where they need to see things every 5 seconds visually, or they're gonna forget. Yeah, I don't want to see a bunch of title cards. I get it, but come on. All right, let's go.
The next thing I loved about this film is the casting and or acting across the board. There was not anybody in this whole film and or entire production that dropped the ball on acting. Speaking about Javar Jackson, who is fulfilling the role of his uncle, the titular character, Michael, this is his first film debut, and it's as if he could act. Like, it's like he's been doing this his whole entire life. And I don't know if that's just because he's emulating his uncle or and or being himself, but he did a great job. And so whoever coached him, directed him, Anton Fuqua, or whoever else behind the scenes, they knocked that out of the park. There was not one point in time to where I said to myself, okay, he's doing a bad job. This is not really bringing the great late Michael Jackson to life. It felt like I was watching Michael Jackson. And we also have...
Are we going to bring back those Flex Wheeler memes? Because you know Flex Wheeler, not Flex Wheeler, but Flex, I'm thinking the bodybuilder. Who was the Flex? Comedian Flex. He did the horrific Michael Jackson movie where he's literally in white face. And these memes used to pop up all the time.
A couple of other A-studded stars as well. We have Lorenz Tate playing the role of Barry Gordy. I didn't even know he was cast in this film until I was watching it, and that was fantastic. Also, Joe Jackson being played by Coleman Domingo. I have one nitpick about his character that I'll talk about at the end, but besides Javar Jackson, he was my second favorite in the film. Yes, his real-life character was despicable, and we'll talk about that in a moment, but he still did a great job of making me despise the kid.
Okay. Yeah, Flex Alexander did that horrific Michael Jackson movie. All right. Yeah, I got my tickets for Sunday. I mean, I've already, you know. Oh my fucking God, what is this shit? What is this shit? Oh no, let's hear it. Let's go here.
For you audition for Joanna Man?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Woo. Yeah, man. I'm glad I didn't get that. Between that, I couldn't have that and the Michael Jackson movie. I would not survive. I would not survive. Yeah, man. I auditioned for that, and Miguel Nunez got it, and Miguel's my boy. But I was like, yo, I know I could ball. Boom, and it just didn't happen. And I'm glad it didn't happen because I could not have those two on my resume. I get one is enough. Shit, one is enough. Whew, I got enough with the Michael Jackson joint. So
yeah, that's a good thing. You didn't get both of them roles, man. That definitely would have never been a good look. But speaking of the Michael Jackson movie, how did you get a role in that?
Oh man. Okay, so Man in the Mirror, right? Look, I get a call. My agent tells me, yo, they're doing this Michael Jackson movie. I'm like, what? Why they calling me? I said, no, I'm 6'4", right? Yeah, but they want to see you, man. Apparently they saw you somewhere. I'm like, all right, cool. I'll go take a meeting, whatever. So I go, I meet producers, director. I don't read anything. I just go and I talk. But I express my he was alive at the time. My admiration for Mike, my love for Mike. Like, I was like, I ain't doing nothing. And they was like, no, the director was very earthy. He was like, no, we want this to be an homage to his energy and da-da-da. I'm like, all right, cool. And they're like, yo, we got the music. I'm thinking like, okay, we got the music. It's official. So at that time, imagine hearing that and thinking it's going to be like the movie that's coming out with Jafar playing his uncle. So you thinking at that time, I'm thinking like, that's what it's going to be like. Like, all right, cool. But we meet. Nothing is said. I meet. Thank you. I leave. A couple of days later, I get the call. Hey man, they want you to do it. I'm like, are you serious? Like, yeah, this is what they're gonna pay you. And I'm like, oh, they serious. Oh, okay, they serious. So, and I know I've said that a lot and I joked about that, but man, that check. But it was more than just that. It was a nice check, but I really thought it was going to be like this joint coming out. I really thought that in my mind. I'm like, we did performances. I did Man in the Mirror performance and other songs. I'm thinking like, yes. Then they came to me, like, yeah, the lawyers, yeah, we can't use the music, and yeah, and then it ended up being, them beats from a producer or whatever who they got up there. No offense to them, but it just lost something. And then we'll talk about the makeup. Yes, God, when I first day on the makeup trailer, because I wanted to get my makeup artist for my show, Merce Arsenault, who we did a Michael Jackson episode on One that was my favorite, by far one of my favorite episodes, with myself and Dwayne Martin battling Michael Jackson's. So she killed it. I'm like, yo, let's get her. Canadian at the time, you have to have but so many crew members, Canadian and American, like it's some real political stuff. So key makeup had to be that. So I go and I look, and then they have this airbrush, and they brushing it to test it. And I'm looking at it, I'm just like, wow. I'm like, you can't get it a little smoother, a little darker, a little. And they wanted to put a prosthetic nose on me as well. I was like, I'm not doing that. I am not doing that. So we go on and we shoot it. Yeah, man, it was, and my acting coach at the time, Fred, man, he came up, he got a role. He was able to play Joe Jackson. And but it was, and we had a premiere for it and everything back then. We had a premiere for it. Everybody was, oh man, it's great. Because this was before social media, before any of that. So, you think like, okay, we did something legit. Yeah, not so much. As soon as social media became popular, people started finding that movie. It was on. I mean, it was on. And I remember initially I was in my feelings. Like, yo, man, man, and I was like, listen, you cannot win with the internet. You cannot. Don't argue, period. Then I just started thinking about it, and I looked, and I was like, it is kind of bad. I do look ashy. Yeah, I look very ashy. So I just started having fun with it. If you can't have fun with it, man, with yourself, like, then what are you doing? I did something on my Instagram, a skit with my boy, Wealthy Jev, and he got in the car. We were supposed to meet to go play golf. He gets in the car dressed like I was in the movie, and it was hilarious. And he initially called me for it because he called me saying, man, I got this idea. It was Halloween. I could show up at your door, but we missed Halloween. And we just kept thinking, I was like, well, maybe we're going to play golf. And then we just boom, put it together. And it was so funny. And it's not at all to mock Michael at all, because, we know the family. My wife, she met Michael, knew Michael. I met Michael. LaToya, Jackie used to be our neighbor. So we just went to see them before Tito passed. We just went to see them at Yamava. It was an amazing show. So in no way, shape, or form was it mocking. I just had to have fun with it for myself. And people loved it. It was funny. But people, they were like, man, we ain't never gonna forget that. Like, we ain't never forgiving you. And I'm like, come on, man, all the good stuff I've done, come on now.
So they was airbrushing that white stuff on you?
Yeah, it was airbrushing it on me. Yeah. I would get there 4:35 in the morning. I had to go through that process when it changed, because he had the vitiligo, as his skin got lighter, because I did the part of it, not with the makeup, but then when it was so bad, the wig was sticking out in the back, it was so bad. Oh my gosh. It was so bad. I can't even, I watched a little bit on YouTube. I was like, holy shit. That's pretty bad.
But when they was airbrushing that on you, I'm sure at some point you had to see yourself in the mirror, right? At that point, you didn't say, man, I gotta get out of this?
I did. I said it in the beginning. There was nothing I could do. That's why I wanted my makeup artist. I wanted Merce up there, but they wasn't going for it. There was nothing I was trying to get hints, say different stuff. Hey, try this, try that. And they were, they were bent on, doing it how they did it.
What in the hell?
Nothing I could do. At that point, ink was dry, baby. I was there.
But I did hear you say that, them having the rights to the music is one of the reasons why you agreed to do the movie, right?
Yeah. I had done performances. I did Man in the Mirror. I did a couple other performances to real songs. So I'm like, oh, yes, we got the music. Because that way I thought, okay, that's going to help. But yeah, when they came to my trailer and told me that, it's going left. Yeah, I was like, oh, damn. Yeah.
That's your way out the contract, though. They lied.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't at that point. We already halfway through the film. I could, because there was no clause that I put in there to say it has to be the original. No, it's up to their discretion and what they can do legally. And legally, the attorneys were like, you can't use that music. So because he was still alive at that time.
This is the same problem that Andre 3000 had when he played Jimi Hendrix. The Hendrix family was like, you not using none of the music. He couldn't even use a Stratocaster. You understand? Like, some of these family estates are so yeah, that Andre 3000 Jimi Hendrix movie, they couldn't use none of their music, and he couldn't even use a Stratocaster guitar. Like, wow, that's how tightly ran the Jimi Hendrix estate is run. They don't fuck around with that man's legacy at all. at all. Okay. Wow. That's pretty bad. I'm still stoked for it. Early projections went down from 200 to 150 this weekend. Let me see if it's changed a bit. Let's see if it's changed. Michael box office projections. Okay, what are we tracking? What are we tracking right now? It's looking at 150 worldwide the first weekend. It dropped from 200 to 150 just based off the Rotten Tomatoes score. Just that quick. It went from 200 to 150. So we're looking at 65 to 70 domestic. Overseas is going to do all the heavy lifting. Okay? Overseas is going to do all the heavy lifting. Okay. It'll have 3,900 locations, 1,600 IMAX screens. So as long as it stays ahead of pace of Bohemian Rhapsody, it'll hit $1 billion. Easily. Okay. Yes, yeah, at one point it was projected at 200. Now it done dropped to 150 just based off Rotten Tomatoes. Nasty work, y'all. $200 million. Yeah, it'll make it. It's gonna make profit. It's gonna make a profit for sure. It's gonna make a profit. Okay. All right. So as of right now, 82 markets. Right now, it's in 82 markets. These are the markets right now. Okay. UK, Ireland, China, Mexico, and Germany. Korea's one delayed. That's May 13th. And Japan goes June. And then we all want to know, in China. So China's going to do a lot. So Japan goes in June. As of right now, because once again, it's going to be competing head to head with Bohemian Rhapsody. Okay. It did 910. Yeah, it'll knock this out the park. Barring anything, an act of God, it'll easily eclipse this. All right. So that's the number, y'all. 910. 910. Okay. 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 Yeah, Jackson Estate reportedly funded a $15 million additional shoot as they overlooked the fact the accuser couldn't be dramatized. They had to reshoot the entire third scene. Sitting at 33% Rotten Tomatoes. Okay. All right.